Good morning. So what's our theme today? Love. Pretty easy, isn't it? The command to love appears in the Gospel of John more times than it appears in all the other three Gospels together. And why is that? Why is that? John talks about love because he repeats the words of Jesus. Because Jesus condenses all the commandments to one word: love. Love God and love one another. But, do we really know what this kind of love is? Do we? Because we talk about love a lot, don't we? We sing about love a lot. It's like, love will keep us together. All you need is love. And no matter where you go, I will always love you. Think about it. Think about what you love. What do you love? What do you love? Say something. What do you love? Do you love God? Do you love Jesus? Do you love your husband or your wife? You better say yes. I see some elbows. What about your children? What about your parents, your siblings, your friends? What about your career? What about your house, your car, pizza, Indian food, wine, Texas Longhorns, dogs? I heard that. When you think about it, there's a lot of things that we say that we love, isn't there? And that is a problem. What's the problem? The problem is not love. The problem is us and the way we treat love. Because the word, we take it too casually, don't we? We use it too informally. What did Tina Turner say about love? Nothing but a second-hand emotion. That's the problem, my friends, is we treat love like emotions or things that make us happy or excited. And love, real love, gets watered down, doesn't it? It loses its meaning. Because when you look at all those things that I just mentioned that we say we love, like careers, food, wine, versus love of God and love of our spouse and our family. Do you see the difference between the two? Do you see a difference? It's pretty simple analysis. Which of these can actually love you back? Which can love you back? Can God love you? Can your wife love you? Your husband love you? What about your career? Can it love you? Pizza. When's the last time you got loved by a pizza? What about wine? Wine makes you happy, but can it love you? No. Right? The only thing on that list that can love you is dogs. Okay, I accept dogs out. Dogs do love you. But when you think about it, there is a big difference. Things cannot love you back. They can't. As Jesus said, only people and God can bring you joy. The source of joy is being loved. And that's what Jesus wants us to see today. That if you want true joy in life, it depends on love. And it's a love that only has one source and one beginning, and that's God. God is the source of love. A love that is so deep and overwhelming that it'll never end. A love that God and Jesus is calling us today to remain in. It requires action. It's selfless. It's laying down your life for other people. That only happens through relationships. For the only thing better than to be loved is to love. And so I am blessed. This parish, we do a lot of weddings. We do a lot of marriage preparation here at the parish. And so I am blessed. I get to see a lot of young love. People who actually remember why they came together as a couple. And I always ask my couples, I ask them, I want you to write down 5 reasons you love each other. 5, at least 5. I had some dudes show up with 4 sometimes, and it's embarrassing, okay? 5 reasons. And so I've heard a lot of reasons. But here are some of the what I would consider the lighter reasons. I love him because he has golden retriever energy. I love him because he is good at math. I love her because she likes to play ping pong. I love her because she picks me up at the airport. I love her because she smells like fresh flowers. I love him because he makes me lunch every day. Otherwise, I wouldn't eat and I would be hangry. I love him because he always does the dishes. All right. Those are the light ones. I've heard a lot more than that, too. But here are some of the ones that stop you in your tracks and make you think and make you remember why love is so important. I love her because she pulls me closer to God. I love him because he makes me feel safe and secure. I love him because he loves me unconditionally. I love him because we are best friends and we can't wait to grow old together. I love her because she has a pure spirit, and just being around her makes me feel special. I love him because no matter where we are, he is my home, and there is no place in the world that I would rather be than just with him. I love him because no matter what is going on, I know I can always depend on him to sacrifice for our marriage, because when it really counts, I know that he will always choose us. My friends, that's love. I am blessed to hear these things, but you know what? There's a problem we have. The older we get, we begin to lose that loving feeling, right? Or we look for love in all the wrong places. We take relationships for granted, don't we? We forget why our spouses, our children, our family, our friends are special. We forget. And instead, what we don't forget are the little things that irritate us, right? We tend to think of that more than why we are blessed that they're part of our life. So I have an assignment for you, everybody here. I want this week, everyone, to think of 5 reasons you love God and Jesus. Can you do that? I know you can come up with 5. 5 reasons you love God and Jesus. And part 2, 5 reasons you love your husband or your wife, or your children, or your family, or all of them. 5 reasons. And I don't want you to just think about them. I want you to write them down. And when you pray this week to God, tell God why you love him. First, you should say, I love you because you made me. I'm alive. But think of 5 reasons why you love God. And the second part, spend some time with your husband, your wife, or your family, and tell them why you love them. Tell them. All you husbands, you won't remember, but the wives certainly will. So don't forget. Seriously, take some time. Remember why. Why do you love? So as you think about that, I want you, there's a true story about how we're called to love others and sacrifice. And so there was a famous author sitting in a little cafe next to a very young couple. And when the couple had finished their breakfast, the husband went and paid, and then he came back, and he stood in front of the girl, and the girl raised her arms up in the air, and the author thought, this is strange. And then he noticed she was crippled. He picked her up, carried her outside, put her in the truck, and drove away. No one in that cafe said anything. Silence as they watched that couple drive away. Until one waitress said, "That man took his vows seriously." Think about it, my friends. Do you take your vow to love seriously? Do you? Do we understand that Jesus said, love one another was a command? It wasn't a suggestion. It wasn't a recommendation. It wasn't something we do when we feel like it or when it's convenient. To love has to be a way of life. It's a love of God that we've all received and that we're called to pass on to others. Real love is the foundation of real life. Real love will make real life. And it doesn't come from things. It comes from God and from people. Because as Jesus said, when you love one another, my joy will be in you, and your joy will be complete. That is what we all strive for, because love is the soul of everything valuable. It's love that God gave us by making us. It's the love he gave us through his Son. It's the love there on the cross. It's his love. Those are the things that we have to remember, how much we are loved, but how much we need to love other people. So, think about your reasons this week. And as you do, consider what Winnie the Pooh said about love, the famous Winnie the Pooh. He said, if you live to be 100 years old, I hope to live to be 100 years minus 1 day, so that I never have to live without you. Amen?